Hey everyone, welcome to Brian's Random Thoughts, the new podcast about my random thoughts because I have a ton of random thoughts. Um, I want to keep it pretty chill, just me talking, me letting you know what I'm thinking, some interesting things. Occasionally, I plan on having some guests come out and maybe we're just going to talk. Me and my friends are always talking about crazy things and we have really good discussions, and so I think it'd be fun for you guys to follow those thoughts. So today, I want to kick things off with talking about Dave Chappelle a little bit. I don't know if anyone knows, but he's got these new specials out. Have you checked them out? He has 4 in total. I thought he was just going to do the 3 with Netflix, but actually there's a 4th one. I don't know if that was originally part of the plan, but there's a 4th one on Netflix that came out New Year's Eve. And, the first 2 were really good. Um, I know he caught some heat. Well, before we talk about all that, I think it's really important to just talk about Dave Chappelle as a comedian. I mean, he's, I don't even know if you could say arguably anymore. He's definitely one of the best. I mean, his ability to tell a story, to deliver a joke. There's always the thing about Chappelle is you can watch it over and over because there's like jokes within the jokes, and that's what makes him, in my opinion, stand out. Like, for example, in his new, the 3rd episode, he tells this joke about him, and it's a very serious subject. It's about a letter he received from a trans fan, and he was talking about it. But in the lead up to the joke, he says, I was staying in a hotel, and I was staying under the name Charles E. Cheese, and it took me like a second. I'm like, what? Charles E. Cheese? Obviously, right? But I think that's important because the meat of what he was going to was a very serious subject. And I feel like he just wants to kind of disarm the subject, like he doesn't want to get there and have everyone be waiting, but he doesn't always do this. This is something that's a new for his specials. I mean, on the 4th one, there was just some moments of him talking. There was no joke. It was just him letting you know. And it was very surprising. I felt, I always thought like what they did to him was kind of messed up, And I say what they did to him, but you can tell that it affected him. It had a big effect on him. I mean, I don't say he seemed sad. I think it took something from him, and he's trying to get it back. The 3rd special I felt was the most relaxed. But even still, there's just like there's this abandon that he used to have that he doesn't have anymore. But maybe that's from knowledge. I feel like, and I talk to my dad always tells me all the time, the more you know, or I tell my dad, the more I know, it seems like the sadder I become, and that, the saying, ignorance is bliss. I feel like maybe that was the case with Chappelle. Uh, Not that he was not intelligent, but just going in the game, you know, making money, being successful and popular. But anyway, these new specials I think are amazing. And I know a lot of people are probably going to be upset because, I mean, he tackles some huge subjects. But I just really appreciate the fact that he's not afraid to uh, approach these subjects in a way that might not be popular. That's the thing. I feel like it's getting lost nowadays is the discussion. We're not all going to agree. We don't all like the same things. That's okay. That's fine. It's impossible. It's crazy to think that we all would, but we have to be able to discuss. and there's no discussions. There's just good guys and bad guys, and I really applaud Dave for taking the initiative or just being willing to put himself out there and you know um, say some things that people won't say. And then at the end of the day, too, I think you need to remember it's comedy. That's their job, to make fun of things that we can't make fun of or that we don't think about. Maybe sometimes I feel like their job or what they do, what comedians do, is force us back so we can step back and see the forest. Dave Chappelle is great at that, man. He's really good at that. I think South Park does a good job of that at times. I mean, they can be. I feel like South Park really hurt themselves because in the beginning they were just so out. People just couldn't handle it. They were like, that's just crazy." But I think they did that to distance themselves from The Simpsons because The Simpsons was out and they were doing their thing, and that was edgy at first too, but it was a little bit more safe. And then you got Family Guy. It's like you always have to push a little further than what was before you. So I think Chappelle is amazing at that. Um, uh, Chappelle is like I I don't even think it's possible for people of our generation to really appreciate all that Chappelle gave us, the culture. I mean, I know when I was in school, in college, that was culture. Everyone quoted Chappelle. Everyone was up on Chappelle. I mean, that was just like the underlining current of culture. And but I wonder, like there's a show I used to watch when I was younger. It was called In Living Color. And I that show would never be able to come on right now, you know. But it's a question. It's it's a question that you have to ask yourself. I don't know the answer. Are are we moving to a place where certain things are unacceptable because they are unacceptable, or are we getting a little bit too uptight? I mean, you can't say anything anymore. I mean, I I joke all the time with my friends and family about shaming. And I don't really understand, to be honest, the term shaming, you know? Like if I don't like meat, or if I don't like I don't know, let's say something wild, coffee. And I tell people, "Oh, I can't believe you drink coffee." And they're like, "Are you coffee shaming me?" It's gotten to that point. It's really gotten to that point. And so then what happens? What happens on the other side of that? I feel like this is what Chappelle was saying. What happens on the other side of that? If I can't say anything to you because I'm afraid, or I just don't want to deal with you being upset, then what happens? We don't talk. You know, a case he made was Ben Affleck. He tried to come out and say it was awful, and then somebody came out and like, "Hey, you grabbed my breast," and he was like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm out. Y'all figure this out yourselves." And we don't want that. You know, this is a serious issue that people need to. We need to. And another thing he said was that it can't be an individual issue. It has to be a cultural issue. The system. That's what I think. I agree 100%. It's the system. It's the way that men and women interact with each other. You know, and I feel like there's been taught, or there's a sense of gray that people kind of romanticize getting to know, falling in love, or whatever, or with men being like aggressive, but not in a physical way, but just like, "Oh baby, I love you," that kind of thing, or showing up at someone's wedding day, ruining their weddings. People love those kind of stories, but that's not really the case. Um, so anyway, I mean, I'm just rambling and being random, but I think the Chappelle specials are amazing. I think everyone should check them out. I mean, he just crushes it. I mean, I think he's back to his form. Jokes are always great. The fourth one gets a little uncomfortable. I'm not gonna lie, it gets a little uncomfortable. It doesn't bother me, but I'm sure a lot of people would feel kind of weird about it. May even turn it off, may even get upset. But I think that's okay. If you get upset, talk about it. Don't go out and call the man a villain, or Dave Chappelle is anti this or that. Just talk about it. Try to understand why he feels the way he does. You know, have a dialogue. Um. Anyway, so that was part of my New Year's Eve. Another part yesterday, which was actually New Year's, uh, was college football the playoffs. Not just the playoffs, the whole day. And I'll be honest, I don't have like cable anymore.